everybody, and welcome back to Out of Bodies, 31 Days of Halloween. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the movie Insidious and how it relates to astral projection in real life. So I'd gotten a couple of comments over the course of time here on my channel regarding this movie and can it happen in real life? Is it real or is it just completely fake? Like, obviously the movie itself isn't real, but can something like that happen in real life? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So I've only seen the first movie. I know there's multiple like sequels after that. I've only seen the first one, so I'm only going to be talking about how it relates to real life as far as just the first movie. So first I'm just going to kind of go through just in general what the movie's about. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything, but basically the movie is about this little boy who ends up going into a coma, and his parents are trying to figure out how to wake him up. What can they do to get him to wake up? The doctors don't know what to do. They can't get him to wake up. Well, without giving like too many spoilers necessarily, I don't think it's really a spoiler. The movie is about astral projection. So what is actually going on is that the boy has somehow astral projected somewhere that he shouldn't have gone, and he can't come back. Like, they have to figure out how to get him back is basically the plot. So hopefully that doesn't give away too much for those of you who haven't seen it. But so in a nutshell, to make a long story short, the boy is trapped somehow and he's being kept by this evil entity. And so people who, you know, maybe haven't practiced astral projection before, don't know as much about it, are fearful, you know, understandably, that a big movie like that would come out and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, like, could this really happen? Like, now I'm scared to do it because, you know, could I put myself in that kind of a situation? And I just want to do a quick disclaimer to say, I'm gonna tell you guys my opinion on how accurate this movie is versus reality. I'm not saying this is literal fact in every situation because I feel like everybody's situation is different. I've had my share of experiences with astral projection, but I don't claim myself as any expert at all. I mean, I've learned a lot about it. I've done a lot of reading. I've practiced it a lot. Not too much recently, mostly in the past couple of years. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there. Like, don't necessarily take anything I say as like verbatim, like this will happen to you or this won't happen to you kind of thing. This is my opinion based on my experiences and based on what other people's experiences I've read, and just my general knowledge about astral projection and how it works. So first I'm gonna kind of go through different things that happen in the movie and hopefully not give away any spoilers, but if you haven't seen the movie, you might go and watch it and then watch this video just in case, because I don't want to like ruin it for you. But I'm going to go through first different things that I felt like were accurate to astral projection, and then at the end I'll go through different things that I felt like, that probably wouldn't happen, you know, that's probably an extreme, or that's probably not going to happen to you kind of thing. So as far as things I felt like they got right, which surprised me, I was skeptical before I watched it, because I was like, when I read the description of the movie and how people were concerned about it, they had commented to me about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty skeptical. This movie's probably not going to be accurate at all. I mean, a Hollywood production on astral projection, a fiction movie, nah. Especially a horror movie, no, it's probably not going to be accurate. But actually it did have some accuracies. One thing I thought was interesting is that at some point in the movie, I think it's towards the end of the movie, so again, spoiler alert, the lady that's kind of like all knowledgeable about astral projection and is kind of coaching the dad on how to get his boy back, tells him, I believe it's her that tells him, no one can possess you, just take your body while you're astral projecting. You know, like, an entity can't just come in and take your body. Like, your body's not just empty because you're out of it, which is true. If they do succeed in doing that, it takes severing the cord. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of power. If that could happen, that's what it would take, is what I would say. And in a nutshell, that's pretty much what she said, you know, that can't happen unless, you know, it takes a lot of power, a lot of energy for that to happen. Honestly, kind of similarly to how when you're in your body and you're in your waking hours, how difficult it would be for a spirit to possess your body in that instance. It's kind of a similar thing. Now, another thing that was said in this movie is that you can venture far enough away from your body to sever the cord and not be able to come back. I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but I am saying that something similar to this did happen to Robert Monroe, a man who I've talked about a lot on this channel, who has, he's passed away now, but he did a lot of experimenting with astral projection. He was a master at it, and he wrote a lot of books on it. At one point in one of his books, I think it was one of the later books, because he had ventured out so far, and not necessarily far as in distance, but like leveling up. Like he had leveled up so much. He leveled up to the point where he actually had to like change his makeup in a sense. Like he had to change into a different astral body each time he leveled up. And he leveled up so much that at one point he actually was so far away in a sense that one of the guides that was with him warned him, like, you need to make your way back to your body now or very soon, or else your body could die. Like, you're actually so far out that you could sever the cord and your body could die. You need to get back, you know, unless you decide to stay here, you can stay here, but your body will die. You won't be able to go back. So could it happen? I guess it could, but I would say it's a stretch. He got to that point after much practice and mastering astral projection. That's how he got that far out. You're not going to just be a beginner with astral projection and then just accidentally go too far out. That's not going to happen. So I do want to calm people's fears on that with this video. That's not going to happen to you. Like, the only reason why it happened to him is because he was mastering it so well, and I feel like he was being guided to experience that, and so that's why he did. But he did get back to his body just fine. His guides were with him. That's the main thing to remember if you're going to practice astral projection. Just make sure, if you believe in spirit guides or angels, just make sure that you call out to them and ask them to protect you and guide you on your journey. And in the movie, they also talked about him possibly getting lost. Can that happen? Yes and no. You can think that you're lost, and kind of, when you're in astral projection, it's important to remember to not necessarily think with your mind and with your consciousness, but feel with your soul's body and think with that. And always remember that if you think about your body and you focus on going back to your body, you can always go back. Like, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but highly unlikely that you would ever get actually lost and not be able to find your way back, because that's how you find your way back, is just your soul's guidance and just tuning in with that and focusing on it, and you'll snap back. That works for me every time. But can you create your own illusion when you're out of your body with fear that you're lost? Absolutely. Robert Monroe did that before. In one of his experiences, he actually ended up, he was traveling out, and then he was wanting to go back, and he thought he turned around to go back. Well, it's not about turning around necessarily, because being in the spirit realm is not like direct north, south, east, west. It doesn't work like that, you know? And so he's like, okay, I'll just turn around and go back the other way, and I'll go back to my body. Well, that's the wrong way of thinking of it, but he didn't realize that that was one of his earlier experiences. And so he ends up going in that direction of what he thinks is back to his body, and he ends up reaching this point where he can't go any further, and he freaks out. He starts having this, like, he starts freaking out, like, I can't go any further. How come I can't get past this wall? Like, what's going on? There's a barrier. Like, what's happening? And then he finally, when he calmed down, he ended up having, I think either his guidance told him or he just had a feeling he should turn around. And then so he turned away from that barrier and then went the direction that he thought would be away from his body, and it was actually towards his body. So he ended up finding his way back. But it's like, I don't think you can really get lost necessarily, but you can think that you are. It depends on what you're listening to. If you're listening to your conscious mind, or if you're listening to your soul. If you're listening to your soul knows where it's going and knows where to go, where not to go, you will be fine. But if you're listening to your conscious mind, which is easy to do when you're out of body, I've done it because that's what you're used to listening to when you're on Earth. Now, another thing in the movie that was mentioned that scares a lot of people is, you know, can an entity like attach themselves to you? Like, in other words, can you like bring something back from being out of body? Technically you could, so I don't want to scare anybody, but again, kind of like the whole possession thing, it would take certain things for that to happen that are highly unlikely. The main thing that it would take is for you to be at a very, very low vibrational state. And that's why, honestly, in my opinion, take this with a grain of salt, I tend to not recommend astral projection for people who are just wanting, like if they're depressed or if they're wanting like an escape, or if they just don't like their life and they want to escape their life. I don't recommend that because you need to be in a very, very high-spirited, high vibrational state to practice astral projection safely. I'm not saying anything bad's going to happen to you, but I'm just saying you'd be better prepared and you'd have a better experience all around if you made sure that you were in high vibrations and, you know, made sure you're protected by your spirit guides, your angels, or just your own high vibrational state, that you're protecting yourself and not letting anything else come in and not going anywhere that you wouldn't want to go. Just keep that in mind. Like, I don't want to scare anybody, obviously, but so again, that's why I wouldn't recommend it for anyone who is, you know, depressed or in a low vibrational state. You know, if you're in that kind of state, if life has really got you down, I've been there. Reach out to someone. Yeah, don't necessarily go to an escape. You know, try to reach out to someone and face your problems instead of trying to escape them. It's human nature. We've all done it as far as trying to escape, but it's always better to face your problems, and you can have help with that. You're not alone. Now, one thing that is a good thing that I thought they got right in the movie that surprised me, because I was like, okay, they must really know their stuff. And now for the life of me, I can't remember what part of the movie that this was in or what was going on, but it might have been the part where, and spoiler alert, the dad actually goes out of his body to find his son. When he first gets out, like, he doesn't realize he's out of his body, he thinks he's just still awake. That's very, very realistic to astral projection. Whenever you first leave your body, especially the first time you do it, a lot of times you're like, okay, I'm awake again. Oh, great, you know, and then you walk around or whatever, and then you look back at the bed and you see your body in the bed and you're like, oh no, I'm out of my body, you know. Like, when you first do it, it is so realistic. I would argue more real than this physical reality. Since I've done it enough, I can say that when you leave your body, it's like everything is so much more real, more vibrant, more sensitive. You know, like, you don't have a physical body, but you can feel physical things so much more, honestly, because you're just more sensitive to everything around you. That is exactly why I definitely am behind the theory that the reason why a lot of ghosts are earthbound is because they don't know they're dead. I 100% believe that that's a possibility because I've practiced astral projection and I've not died, but I've been out of my body. I've been in my soul's body and experienced that, and it is so real. So I could see how someone could die in their sleep and wake up, in a sense, wake up dead and not know that they're dead, you know, just think that they're still alive, you know, because it's so real. It's actually more real to me than the physical reality. The colors are more vibrant. Like I said, you're more sensitive to things. Like, all the senses are heightened. Now, a couple of things I thought were inaccurate, which now that I'm at towards the end of this video, some of the things I talked about earlier that were accurate were also inaccurate, because it was like, yes, this could happen, but not really, you know. So I guess that's what that was. But a couple of little things is kind of nitpicky, I guess, of me. But a couple of little things that I felt like were inaccurate. One of which was when the dad goes into the astral plane, and they did this for the sake of the movie, obviously, but like, all of a sudden the whole world looks like this bluish gray color. And I was like, yeah, that's not accurate, because like I was just saying, you know, when you're out of your body, colors and everything are so much more vibrant. Like, you can see better. I can see like I've never seen in my physical body, you know. Sometimes I even think back like, man, I wish I could see as good as I could when I'm in my astral body, because it is so crisp, so clear, so vibrant. So when he got out of his body and they kind of look, you know, showed what he was seeing, you know, and everything was kind of a faded blue color, and I was like, yeah, no. But they did that for the movie. For one thing, it's a horror movie. They want it to be spooky and mysterious, but in reality, when you're out of your body, that's not what it's like. Unless you're in a really dark, unless you're not in the astral plane, and you're still on the earthly plane, like in your bedroom or something, you just left your body and the room is dark, then it might be kind of dark still, but you'll still have the light of your aura will light the room. So it'll be kind of a yellowy color, whatever color your aura is. So if your aura is kind of blue, then it could look like that. But otherwise, yeah, it's not gonna look like that. The other thing that kind of made me chuckle, I thought was funny, is that when he was looking for his son, he grabbed a lantern and was using that to light his way. And I was like, no. I just thought, it just made me chuckle because I was like, no, you don't need a lantern, dude. Like, your own aura is gonna light your way, you know, like you don't need. And how, I mean, you can pick up physical things when you're out of your body, but it takes a lot of practice. So the fact that he could just pick up a lantern right away was like inaccurate as well. That takes a lot of practice to be able to pick up a physical object. Typically your hand just goes right through it. You can feel it. Like I said earlier, you can feel it even more sensitively than you can with a physical hand or something, but your hand will still go through it. Because like that's what's happened to me many times. I've like put my hand through the wall or put my hand through a door, and I literally feel like every grain of that object, but my hand still goes through it. So that's the end of this video. I hope that was interesting for you guys. Those of you who have asked me about it before watching the movie, I didn't really know what to tell you. I was like, well, probably it's inaccurate. I don't really know. I haven't seen the movie, but now that I've seen it, I feel like I can kind of give an opinion. So again, disclaimer, this is all opinion based and based on my own personal experiences and research. So just take it with a grain of salt. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video tomorrow for 31 Days of Halloween. Thanks for watching. Bye.